out of their home. So they were taking it easy. First 8 months, enjoy. Last month, buckle down to get it done. So at that time, I used to share my notes, and they will come back and ask a lot of difficult questions, how you managed to arrive at this solution. That allowed me to go get into the fundamentals, and that helped me a lot to understand the things with a good basic foundation and able to convince them. And these were some early roots of my inclination to do some teaching and consulting. And other thing is, back in 1984 at AT&T Bell Labs, I took a one-day course with the same title, How to Get Things Done. And that's where I understood that time management process has all these pieces which one need to master: goal setting, prioritizing, planning, decision making, scheduling, saying no when you are busy, organizing, handling interruptions, managing meetings. And we will have a good discussion around meetings, why attending meetings saps your time, procrastination. When you have a ability to delegate it to others, you need to do that diligently, and collaboration, working with others. So all these things, again, I learned in a formal way 36 years ago, and that has stayed with me both professionally and personally. And I'm still using some of the learnings from 36 years ago. Let's begin with a few quotes to get started. Ralph Waldo Emerson says, "This time, like old times, is a very good one if we but know what to do with it." So we need to have a plan to use the time wisely. If we don't use it, time just goes away. Second one from St. Francis of Assisi: start by doing what is necessary, then what is possible, and suddenly you are doing the impossible. Third one is with a little bit of humor, tongue in cheek. It says, "I'm definitely going to take a course on time management just as soon as I can work it into my schedule." And we all know that thing will never happen because we are waiting, and that waiting time will never end. Fourth one is from a sports coach, Harvey Mackay. He says, "Time is free, but it is priceless. You cannot own it, but you can use it. You can't keep it, but you can spend it. Once you have lost it, you can never get it back." The TV monitor says, "The bad news is time flies. The good news is you are the pilot." So at the end of the day, we are in charge, and we need to make a decision where we want to spend time. And I'm sure all of you who are in the audience, they are very good at managing time. However, the purpose of today's talk is to share with you some pointers and do some refreshing of the ideas, so that more like a shot in the arm, and that can help everyone. A few myths about time management, so let's clear them out. The first one is time management is a complex subject, which is not true. The basic process has 5 major components: goal setting, planning, prioritizing, scheduling, and organizing. Second one, a lot of time people feel that the activity is good in itself. In other words, being busy is not the same as being effective if we use our time on low priorities item. So very soon we will focus on where we need to put our attention on addressing which item. Is it the urgent item? Is it the important item? Or is it the low priority item? So we'll come to that soon. There's the 80-20 rule of time management. Now this rule came about by an Italian economist, Wilfredo Pareto. So it's known as the Pareto principle in the quality discipline. Dr. Juran promoted it big time. So if you look at any organization, 20% of your people will give you 80% of the output. And you look at your sales and marketing area, 20% of your top sales and marketing professionals will bring 80% of the revenue. Rest of the 80% only will bring the residue 20%. So same rule applies on the relationship between input and output. In other words, 20% of a person's time generates 80% of the person's results. Hence, it is very vital to focus 20% of your prime time to achieve the 80% of the work that really counts almost on a daily basis. Now we'll quickly go through some of the internal time wasters. And these internal time wasters begin with, if I'm not disciplined, I'll be fumbling around and wasting time to work on things. If I'm not decisive enough to decide which item to work on, then the time will flow away. If I'm personally disorganized, I could not find my things which I need to address the issue at hand. Procrastination, this is a common thing for everyone. Let's not do it today, I'll do it tomorrow, maybe the day after, and that thing never comes. We all have this tendency of inability to say no. We are going to expand on this a little bit more, but the metaphor I want to share with you is you are sitting down for a lunch or a dinner, your plate is full, and then your mother comes with a nice item, special item, says, take it a little more. Now, you know fully well that your plate is full, your stomach says no. If you take more thing into your plate at that point, you are not doing justice to yourself or to your mother or somebody who is serving that thing to you. And it's the same way when you are working on your items to be cleared on a daily basis. So your plate is full, somebody comes from nowhere and says, do this for me. You accept it, knowing fully well you are not able to accomplish it. So you let yourself down, let the other person down. So please do not do that, because you are setting yourself for failure in managing the time and getting things done. Poor delegation skills. Now this is the sign of leadership. If you are a leader and if you have people reporting to you, you really need to start delegating it in a proper way, and we'll focus on this issue shortly. Another thing is, sometimes people are there physically at the workplace, but they're thinking about something else, daydreaming. And the last item is, you are worrying too much about what's going to happen next. All it creates is anxiety and builds up stress that doesn't help managing your time or getting things done, which you need to address at the moment. Here are some external time wasters, and begins with the interruptions coming mainly through the email, through smartphone messages, SMS, all those things happening continuously almost during the waking hours. Now, while you are concentrating at work, if you keep addressing those all the time, as soon as the message comes, you read it and start responding, your actual work is put on the hold. So you need to figure out a way to manage your email and all those messages at a certain time of the day. And generally, it's a good idea to do it when you have some dead time, generally after lunch, when body is not 100% functional. At that time, you can clear some of those things. Office socializing. You are meeting around the coffee table, tea breaks, etc. Short time just expands and things go on. Too many meetings. I'll reserve some comments on this. This is a deadly sin. We attend too many meetings and most of them are not effective. A lot of time unscheduled visitors will pop in without calling in or without taking an appointment. That takes away your time. Poor work environment. If the company organization doesn't provide a proper work environment, you are not effective. When you are given an assignment but the goals are unclear, you are just waiting what you need to work on. Under that condition, you need to go back to your supervisor and get some clarity on the goals. What is the importance and what are we trying to achieve here? When you need to get somebody else's cooperation to complete your task, you are at their mercy and their uh, mercy of their time. So you need to start early. Don't wait till the last minute. And a lot of organizations have bureaucratic red tape, which prevents people from doing the things in the best possible way. And there could be a few other things you can think of. So the idea is we need to be aware about these internal and external time wasters, which take away a lot of our time during the day. As a result, we are unable to complete our work. And what happens? Either you stay late in the office or take the work home. By either way, you are disturbing your work-life balance and you are doing disservice to your family. And that is not healthy as well. A little bit about right brain and left brain. I'm sure there are some engineers in the audience. Porus is one, I am myself. We in general are more logical and we have a left brain tendency. We see generally black or white. And for us, the time flows in a monochromic order. You do one thing and go on to the another. Whereas people who are more artistic, right brain people, they can see option at every turn and they have ability to look at the gray area. For them, it's rarely black or white. And for them, time flows in a polychromic manner with many things happening simultaneously. Now, there is nothing right or wrong about having a right brain or left brain tendency, but you need to know what is your preference, how you are hardwired. And I can make one comment. I started out with the left brain 100%. And over the years, I've shifted in the middle. So I'm neither left brain nor right brain, but I have come in the center, which helps me in some cases where I need to see out of the box. Now we begin to peel the onion on the critical items for managing time. So the first one we look at is the goal setting. We need to set the SMART goal with respect to managing our time on a daily basis. And SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-based. You want to hit the bullseye, the yellow target area. And key is to set and achieve time management goals. And this is where the journey begins. Once you have the goal set, now you are ready to start the journey and make sure that you are achieving your goal on a daily basis. Planning. Very important to plan your day. And what you need to do is visualize the end results, that when at the end of the day, when you have completed one or two most important items on your list, how will the day look like and what kind of goals you have accomplished at that point. Things you need to do, estimate the time required for each of the items, and use the project management technique by breaking down the major task into subtasks and sub-subtasks so that each of the chunk can be addressed with a definite time window. Once you have developed the schedule, then as you start working on things, keep looking at the progress you are making and the time you had estimated. If you need to adjust your schedule, do so as needed. And keep in mind, always anticipate and allow for possible problems. So remember good old Murphy's Law. When you don't expect trouble, trouble will arrive. So you're going along fine, all of a sudden some issue will pop up on the item you are working in. So that's your Murphy's Law. So you need to build in that slack time in between. So key thing to remember, we need to have 10% excellent planning and 90% flawless execution. Both are critical. And if you fail to plan, you are planning for a failure. So I have a typo there. I'll fix that. And plan your work and work your plan. So planning is extremely critical. So goal setting, then planning, prioritizing. look at 4 buckets you have. Things you need to do, put it in the do bucket. Things you can do, but you can delegate it to others who are reporting to you, put it in the delegate bucket, and we'll expand on that very shortly. Third, you have to do it, but not now. You are busy. So you delay it and write it down on a yellow sticky paper that I'll get to it after 10 days or 2 weeks, and then definitely go back and take care of it. And the last one, dump. Lot of things coming in should be in the 4th basket. So prioritizing by focusing on the important things first, addressing the urgent, get it out of the way, and accomplish what you can get done early so that it builds the confidence. Now, in the prioritization, I'm showing the Eisenhower box. On the y-axis, we have important or not important. On the x-axis, we have urgent or not urgent. The guidance here is you need to focus on the top right quadrant, important and not urgent. So this is where I think somehow these lines are popping in. So if somebody is touching it, please refrain from touching it. Otherwise, I think we'll keep going. In the top right quadrant, it's all about planning, working with your stakeholders, researching long-term business strategy, and when you have done some good work, take a little bit of time out to do exercising and calling your family and friends to rejuvenate your and recharge your battery. On the other quadrant, top left, important and urgent, 5 to 10% of your time there. That is firefighting. And sometimes there are clever people in the organization who will put the fire first, start the fire, come back with the fire hydrants and put the fire out. And sometimes the management thinks they are the heroes, so they get more accolades. You need to give the recognition to people who are working on important but not urgent. So 90 to 95% in the top right quadrant, 5 to 10% in the top left quadrant, bottom right, delete 0, and not important, urgent, start delegating it so that you are not wasting your time on it. Now, important thing to remember is to develop our annual, monthly, and weekly plans. I'm sure a lot of you may be having that plan in place. I generally like to do a to-do list on a daily basis. On day before, I prepare my to-do list for the next day and put 1 or 2 important items I need to accomplish next day, which will be at the top of the list. And when the new day begins, I start with those important items and try to clear them before the day is over. Then there are several other items on the list. If I can get to it, fine. If not, it's okay. So important to remember, focus on outcomes, not just the action. You do need the actions, but the focus should be on actual outcomes and the results. So at this point, I'm going to play the time management YouTube and Norton has popped up.
In the summer of 1997, NASA's Pathfinder spacecraft landed on the surface of Mars and began transmitting incredible, iconic images back to Earth. But several days in, something went terribly wrong. The transmissions stopped. Pathfinder was, in effect, procrastinating, keeping itself fully occupied, but failing to do its most important work. What was going on? There was a bug, it turned out, in its scheduler. Every operating system has something called the scheduler that tells the CPU how long to work on each task before switching and what to switch to. Done right, computers move so fluidly between their various responsibilities, they give the illusion of doing everything simultaneously. But we all know what happens when things go wrong. This should give us, if nothing else, some measure of consolation. Even computers get overwhelmed sometimes. Maybe learning about the computer science of scheduling can give us some ideas about our own human struggles with time. One of the first insights is that all the time you spend prioritizing your work is time you aren't spending doing it. For instance, let's say when you check your inbox, you scan all the messages, choosing which is the most important. Once you've dealt with that one, you repeat. Seems sensible, but there's a problem here. This is what's known as a quadratic time algorithm. With an inbox that's twice as full, these passes will take twice as long, and you'll need to do twice as many of them. This means 4 times the work. The programmers of the operating system Linux encountered a similar problem in 2003. Linux would rank every single one of its tasks in order of importance, and sometimes spent more time ranking tasks than doing them. The programmer's counterintuitive solution was to replace this full ranking with a limited number of priority buckets. The system was less precise about what to do next, but more than made up for it by spending more time making progress. So with your emails, insisting on always doing the very most important thing first could lead to a meltdown. Waking up to an inbox 3 times fuller than normal could take 9 times longer to clear. You'd be better off replying in chronological order or even at random. Surprisingly, sometimes giving up on doing things in the perfect order may be the key to getting them done. Another insight that emerges from computer scheduling has to do with one of the most prevalent features of modern life: interruptions. When a computer goes from one task to another, it has to do what's called a context switch, bookmarking its place in one task, moving old data out of its memory, and new data in. Each of these actions comes at a cost. The insight here is that there's a fundamental trade-off between productivity and responsiveness. Getting serious work done means minimizing context switches, but being responsive means reacting anytime something comes up. These two principles are fundamentally in tension. Recognizing this tension allows us to decide where we want to strike that balance. The obvious solution is to minimize interruptions. The less obvious one is to group them. If no notification or email requires a response more urgently than once an hour, say, then that's exactly how often you should check them. No more. In computer science, this idea goes by the name of interrupt coalescing. Rather than dealing with things as they come up, oh, the mouse was moved, a key was pressed, more of that file downloaded, the system groups these interruptions together based on how long they can afford to wait. In 2013, interrupt coalescing triggered a massive improvement in laptop battery life. This is because deferring interruptions lets a system check everything at once, then quickly re-enter a low-power state. As with computers, so it is with us. Perhaps adopting a similar approach might allow us users to reclaim our own attention and give us back one of the things that feels so rare in modern life: rest. Are you interested in improving your own time and task management skills? If so, we highly recommend you check out Algorithms to Live By: The Computer Science of Human Decisions. You can download an audio version of the book for free at audible.com/TEDEd, and every free trial created encourages Audible to continue supporting TEDEd's nonprofit mission. The insight here.
Okay, so that was some insight from the computer science on what to do with respect to interruptions and prioritization. There are some messages. I think we need to listen to all of those and then decide what makes sense on the things you are working at. Next is scheduling. Key thing is to make the realistic deadline and allow enough time for various stages of work and continue to review and revise them. And always remember, you are in charge, not the schedule. So take a look at your schedule, be realistic, don't try to be a superhuman because we are not. And if you take on too many things, then we are definitely setting ourselves up for failure. And find your dead time. So I mentioned briefly, generally after meal, during the office hours, body is not 100%. At that time, schedule meetings, do the phone calls, and get the mundane stuff out of the way. Now comes this deadly disease, the meetings. Now, to begin with, one need to always question the need and frequency of the meetings, and think about this. Higher up you go in the organization, the executive's time is all spent in attending meetings. There's a beautiful book written by Patrick Lencioni, very enticing title, Death by Meeting. And general observations of that book is most of the meetings around the world, they are not effective. And secondly, by the way, they are boring also. So it's not only ineffective, but it's boring and it's wasting away your time. I will quickly look at how much time people spend in meetings on an average around the world very shortly. So key thing is, if you don't need the meeting, only hold the meeting when you need to make certain decisions with the input of key people who are invited to attend the meeting. And if it is general information you need to share, you can have an email, put it up on the internet, send out SMS, etc. Always request the agenda in advance. And I had a student from Honeywell in my MBA class here. He said at Honeywell, they had a standing policy that if the agenda doesn't arrive 48 hours in advance, they are excused not to attend the meeting. So agenda is important because that brings the focus. What's the objective of the meeting? What are the key items under discussion? And whatever is the input people are going to give in that meeting, that input is collected ahead of time, package is ready, and only invite the right people. They are all there on time and leave on time. Need a facilitator to keep the discussion going and keep the meetings brief, 30 minutes, focus on one issue, and have a simple meeting minutes. How many people attended, what was the agenda, what were the key discussion item in bullet form, and main important aspect is the action item register. How many action items started, who owns it, and what's the possible target date for completion estimated. Maximize collaboration between the meetings, and at the front end use purpose, agenda, and limit, and also focus on planning, participation, and follow-up. Quickly to arrange 1 hour effective meeting, the meeting planner has to spend on an average 10 hours, rule of thumb, 1 to 10. And the best practice I've seen for meeting minutes is a person is typing it up along the way when the meeting is going on. That's a scribe. At the end, he or she will clarify the action items for making sure that everybody is in sync with it, clarity about the owner, acceptance by the owner who are in the audience already attending the meeting, and then before people disperse, send it out to everyone. So the people who are on the action item list, they begin to take action before the next meeting happens. Avoid time waster meetings. So one rule of thumb I've heard is say no to all meetings. Then you have to be judicious. You have to ask the question, what is the objective of the meeting? What is the need for me to attend, and what value am I going to add? Once you get the answer to those to your satisfaction, then definitely attend the meeting. Telephone meetings, consider telephone calls during the working hours as a business call, business meeting. Remain standing, announce the goal, why the call you are making, or when somebody calls, what's the purpose of the call. Don't be very comfortable. Keep something in view so that as soon as the call is over, you're going to attend to the next item, and keep smiling. Your smile will be contagious on the phone line as well. So here is the finding from the Harvard Business Review. World over, people spend 62 hours per month in meetings, and half of it is a waste. So 40% of the working time, 2 days out of 5, is spent in meetings, and 50% of that, that is 1 day per week, is wasted. So literally you are working on a 4 days out of 5 days. So you are not firing on all your cylinders. And in contrast to that, look at Google as a company which allows 1 day a week as a free time. You don't need to worry about your work situation. You can do some thinking about some new ideas and spend 1 full day thinking about it. So they are making the best use of time. And in general, the rest of the people around the world are wasting 1 day a week. Organizing up-to-date to list in a priority order, we talked about that. Deal with the paperwork and email only once, and use stage filing method, that is tasks, subtasks, and you can create that thing in your mailing system. Use the technology in a proper way. Organize your workspace and manage your calendar well, and don't do double or triple booking of meetings because you cannot be there everywhere. Delegating. If you don't delegate, you can you can avoid delegating if you can eliminate altogether. You can do it, but you have people who needs to grow, and you need to start giving them delegation appropriately, gradually, and strategically by establishing concrete goals. So show them the end post. Don't tell them what are the steps. Allow them their creativity. Give them the objectives, very clear communication. Put up some intermediate milestone for review. Show them the importance of the task, and when they finish it, give them support and credit. So what happens is your people begin to grow, and they are able to do more and more of those things which they have not been able to do before, and it frees you up in doing important things you need to address at the given time. And whatever time you have invested is allowing you to get better future payoff by your people becoming more proficient in getting things done. Now, important item, learn when to say no. So basic idea is we cannot do everything ourselves, and we need to recognize our limits, being very honest and vocal about why we cannot do it at the moment, because I'm busy with my important project. So I cannot address what you are asking me to do. So if you wait for 3 days when the project is over, I'll look into your request. And of course, you can't keep saying no all the time, then nobody will come to you asking for your opinion or your help. Handling interruptions. If you are working on a crucial deadlines, make yourself inaccessible. If you are in a cubicle, just put a note that for next 5 days, I'm on a critical project, so please do not disturb, and do not allow any self-interruptions, and ask people to send you email and set up time after you are done with your crucial deadline. Very important about avoiding procrastination. The few good ideas, doing things at the last minute is much more expensive than just before the last minute. And nobody works best under pressure all the time. Important to remember, emergency on your part does not become urgency on someone else's part. So don't go there at the last minute to get somebody's help. Once you determine there is a dependency, you need somebody to help you plan that ahead of time. Deadlines are important. You establish yourself because you are in charge, and sometimes we don't want to do certain things, so we keep avoiding, and that list keeps growing. So simple idea is you prioritize that list of items you have been avoiding and start doing one or two a day, at least a one a day till you catch up with the backlog. And don't try to be a perfectionist. Collaboration, make good use of ideas of the others, ask for help when you need it, and borrow the models and templates from other sources. That's the benchmarking. If somebody has done good work, adopt it, adapt it for your own benefit. Personal prime time. Some people are good in the morning, some are good in the evening, some are late nighters. Generally, the software people are late night, and students, they pull the whole night sometimes when they have not studied during the time allocated to them. So the guidance is find your creative and thinking time, defend it ruthlessly, spend it alone, maybe at home. And this is where you will be spending 20% of your prime time to achieve 80% of your output for the day. Multitasking, and while you have downtime on a public transport, at doctor's office, waiting for the plane, on a hold on a telephone call, and when you are early, need to have a notebook with you and a pen or pencil, write down some ideas come to your mind, as well as important thing you are working on at the office. What thoughts, whatever thought comes in, you write it down. That can help you to continue your thinking pattern on that. So in review, time management requires setting specific, smart time management goals, then prioritize your activities for the day. Important item first, organize the day, learn when to say no, use your waiting time in an effective way, concentrate one task at hand. So a little bit about multitasking. Multitasking doesn't mean that you are doing small piece here and small piece there. No, you are doing many things, but whatever things you undertake has to be done completely, and then you move on to other stuff. Consider your personal prime time and make best use of it. And at the end of the day, when you accomplish one or two important items on your list, when you are done with it, feel satisfied and celebrate the success. So I'd seen a very nice definition of time, so let me read it. Time is slow when you wait. Time is fast when you are late. Time is deadly when you are sad. Time is short when you are happy. Time is endless when you are in pain. And time is long when you feel bored. So every time is determined by your feelings and your psychological conditions and not by clocks. So have a nice time always. So I just want to share with you that Swami Nikleshwarananji is shown in the top right picture in the middle. He was secretary at Ramakrishna Mission in Vadodara. Now he has moved to Rajkot. He took me to Bisect studio in Gandhinagar, capital of Gujarat, where Mr. A.J. Shah, Commissioner of Higher Education, gave me 45 minutes to talk on effective time management. Mr. Shah is now retired. We connected via satellite from the Bisect studio with 450 colleges throughout the state of Gujarat, and 5 lakh students benefited from that live presentation on effective time management. It's been recorded, and most of the content is the one we are discussing today. So now the presentation is over. We are ready to take the questions, and if you have questions, kindly put it in the chat box. And we have some questions coming in. So social media today has been an important part of our professional social life, but it wastes a lot of time. How can we manage and use effectively? So I'll give you my personal example. I was very active with the LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, etc. 2018, my accounts were hacked. So I decided to pull out of all social media. And thank goodness I'm saving a lot of time, and that is allowing me to do many more things. So Best thing is either you have a discipline of fixed amount of time, 15 to 20 minutes a day, or whatever time is appropriate. And when you are not doing any productive work, work on social media, not during your prime time, not during what you are working on. So that will not help. Okay, more question. Okay, could you please go over the left brain, right brain concept one more time? Okay. Everybody else has to be on a mute. I hear the disturbance. So left brain, right brain concept one more time. So left brain are the people who are logical and they see things whether it's left or right. That means either it's black or white. They do not, they have no ability to see the gray area in general. That's the left brain people. Logical, generally engineers are left brain hardwired. The artistic people are right brain people. And for them, it's neither black or white, but they are able to see the gray area in the middle. So they are able to do multiple things and get different things done in a different way. So that's the concept of left brain, right brain. As I made a comment, there is no right thing, the right brain or left brain. There is no exact solution for it. It depends on your nature and how you are hardwired. But being aware about it, it allows you to manage your time in a best possible way. So that will be the comment. How to say no, it is very difficult. Yeah, so this is the area we need to work on it. And you need to be polite, you need to be direct, and need to be explaining why you cannot undertake that activity at the moment because you are working on something important and you need to deliver it. And that's the reason you are unable to address their need at the moment. How to bring the top leadership team on the same page for setting priorities, particularly when they are from different work cultures. Now, this is a challenge, definitely. The key will be if you are working in a team, then the leadership team needs to be made aware of whatever issues you are facing and try to tell them that you are working on item 1, 2, 3 and try to sync in with your immediate supervisor to see whether they are in agreement with the priorities you are working on. When there is an alignment, you are in good shape. If there is no alignment, you think you are working on important things, but if your manager or supervisor or the leaders think you are not working on the important items, then you need to reconcile that. Perfect timing is quite not possible for human being. You wanna say 20% management will give 80% results. Decision making is perfect with left brain. How can we develop that? I would not agree with that comment. Decision making by either the right brain or left brain will be perfect as long as we follow the guidelines we discussed in the previous session by making quick decisions. If we fail, learn from those and keep making more decisions. And that is the practice will make it perfect. It has nothing to do with the left brain having a priority or having the monopoly on that. How to remove procrastination. Now, this is the one thing we need to have a determination that I don't want to sit on this issue. Because see, the idea is if you sit on the issue and don't make a decision, the issue is not going away. And ultimately, if you are sitting on many issues, it can explode and it can come in the way of your progress. So you need to determine, and a lot of time we procrastinate because we don't like to do things. Certain things we don't want to do it. So that's why we are procrastinating. So one of the slide, if you remember, make a list of things you have been avoiding, prioritize them, and on a daily basis, at least get one thing out of the way. Do you again time frame the delegated work, and how do you monitor it? Okay, do you again time frame the delegated work, and how do you monitor it? Okay, so this is about scheduling. So when you have a task given to you to accomplish for the day, you need to break it into small tasks, big task into small tasks, manageable small tasks or sub tasks, and then allocate the time for each of those small pieces. Once you accomplish few of them, check in against the schedule you had sent and schedule you have specified, see whether you are on target. If you are slipping the schedule, that means you need to add a little bit more time to it, and then adjust the other task and subtasks to finish for the end of the day. How to avoid key people when they disturb? Yeah, it's an interesting challenge. You should be keeping yourself very transparent in a way, saying that if you are on a difficult project and a specific deadline, no matter who is coming to disturb you, you need to let them know in a polite way. I would leave the comment at that. And of course, you need to manage the relationship. And in general, at the workplace, it's how you manage your boss makes a big difference. It's managing the expectation of your boss. Could you please go over Eisenhower box with example in day-to-day life? Yeah, so we saw the 4 quadrants. The top right quadrant, important, not urgent. So the activities there, let me reiterate, are the planning effort for the work you are doing, any research you need to do, any stakeholders, connections you want to make. Those are the most important item, not urgent. So you work on those. Then top left quadrant is the urgent and important. So about 5 to 10% of your time, you want to finish those things, get it out of the way. For example, you need to write a short memo, which is required to be done, and you get it out of the way, so you are done with that. That is more like a firefighting out of your way. And the other 2 boxes, basically bottom right, we saw that one was not important, not urgent, just delete it. And the bottom left was not important but urgent, you start delegating it to others so that your time is properly managed. Okay, I don't see any more question after that point. So if there are questions, fine. If not, we can begin to come to a conclusion quickly. Okay, one request, go ahead. I don't see the request. Could you hold a session on boss management? Okay, I think then the key will be the bosses needs to be attending this meeting, right? When the boss attends the meeting along with the people, then it's very important that everybody is on the same page and everybody understand what the issues are. So I would leave it to the organizers, and I'm not the organizer in that sense. I'm just bringing my presentation to share with all of you. So bring it up to your management internally. Any other question? If not, I think we are going to bring the session to a close, and it's time is running. So let's have, if Adil Bhai is there, he can do the closing, followed by Yazdi Bhai and then Dr. Mitaji. Go ahead, Adil Bhai.
Once again, sir, thank you so much for spending this night for you It's been a very enlightening session. Time management is so critical to all of us. We tend to ignore it, but we definitely need to structure our lives correctly. Learn to say no. That's something important that I have learned today. And this is the end of the third session. We are looking forward to the other three. So thank you so much for being with us, sharing your valuable inputs. We appreciate very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Adil Bhai. Yazdi Bhai, your word.
Thank you, sir. Delighted to go through this. And I must mention to the audience that you also could not say no to me, and you ended the session in 1 hour as per schedule. Thanks a lot.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, Mitaji. She's on a mute.
Yeah. It was a wonderful session, and I think time management is what we all need, even in the period of lockdown, because how are we really spending our time? Are we wasting our time? Are we really managing our time properly? Because especially during this phase of lockdown, we get attracted to a lot of time wasters instead of really making it more productive and efficient. So I think it's going to be an eye-opener to all of us that yes, whatever time that we have right now during the lockdown, we make the most productive use of it. So the starting words, I think the feedback form, we will be sending it to you all. Tantra sir, do you have that link with you handy right now? Then you can post it. Because,
The old one?
Yeah. Actually, I did not change the title, but anyways, I'll be sending the feedback form to all of us in the group with respect to through HODs. So you can fill the feedback form for this session. And I'll send it over to Dr. Manu Vora by the end of the coming week. So, sir, can you just guide us at what is our next session going to be on?
Yeah, so the next session is going to be on project management. So 1 week from today, we will pick up the project management session, which is again very important in the 21st century. We need to have 3 critical skills under our, we need to master 3 critical skills in the 21st century. That is teamwork, problem solving, and project management. And all 3 of them go hand in hand. So important thing, we'll begin with the project management, and then we'll take up the effective teamwork, and then conclude it with the career development guidance, which can help everybody in a professional way, how we can keep growing in the areas we are at in any discipline. So project management is the next topic. And we'll pick it up exactly 1 week from today, Sunday morning, 8:30 start. It's a little bit longer presentation because I wanted to share some of the important concepts. So let's not rush it. Sometimes we have to spend time to understand it properly because that's a very, very critical discipline. We all need to be master at project management. Okay, with that, we bring the session to an end. And once again, thank you everyone for attending and appreciate your kind feedback. Last session feedback was very positive, and it essentially is encouraging to keep doing more for the Patuk Gala College of Commerce and Management and Yazdiwai's friend who are coming in from different professional fields as well to attend. So thanks everyone. Enjoy the day and stay healthy, stay safe. Have a great day.
You manage exactly in 1 hour, so thank you.
It's a time management topic, so we need to manage the time. Otherwise, it's not worth it, right?
We are done it to the minute.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye-bye. Bye.